What's going
Brum.
Oh my God, what's going on, everybody? Good morning. We're here to talk some college football. My name is Drew Davis. That over there is my good friend Chauncey Williams, aka Bonnie, aka Smoke Six Special. And we
Hey,
missed y'all last week. We didn't talk about the season leading into last week, but we can double back and double over it. But first of all, bro, how you doing?
well, I'm doing good, man. Got a workout in this morning. Had a good week of work, just chilling, bro. So it's a good week. It's a good Saturday right now. What's up with you?
Man, same. I'm over here. I'm still in the middle of, see, you got cable and stuff. I'm still streaming. I'm still jumping on, doing free trials here and there, left and right. I really don't care. Uh,
Bro, I don't have cable. I have Hulu Live as a streaming platform.
my bad. Still, hey, I'm just saying, either way, you ain't over here just trying to be like, oh, what's that game on Paramount? Let me see if I got another email to plug in real quick.
Why don't you go to your little favorite bar that you like down the street?
I was just there yesterday.
I'm sure you were.
And to be honest, today's not really the day for football to keep it 100. Like you're gonna watch, but there ain't nothing that's enticing. So that leads me into the first thing, bro. That's the only bad thing with people playing people week one. Usually week one you'd have a game or two that was like circled on the schedule. This year we had about what 5 or 6 that was like some matchups. But then after that, the week two is the week that everybody's going to be playing nobodies, and there's just going to be these certain games. So either way you flip it, it's going to happen in one of these first weeks. But what matchups do you like today? Are you looking forward to today?
So right now I know it's gonna be a low scoring game. That Iowa State final score probably gonna be 9-3. We might as well watch baseball for that. But no, I'm really intrigued with that SMU and Baylor game.
Okay.
I think that might be a good one. I think that might be a sneaky game today that might be exciting to watch. Just seeing how Baylor bounces back after losing to Auburn and how SMU is feeling good right now. Trying to keep the momentum going from last year. So that's one I'm looking forward to. They brought back the Mizzou and KU game, so I'm looking forward to that. I still don't believe in both programs. There's one of those are those programs where like, are y'all really going to be good this year, or y'all just start off like with the hype? KU with the new stadium and Mizzou, they're doing renovations to their stadium, but this rivalry is getting brought back, so there's going to be some energy with that one. I feel like. I'm still going to go with I'm gonna rock with KU for the dub on that one though. So. I'm gonna keep that one intrigued. I'm gonna be watching that one closely. What about you, bro?
Man, looking forward to OU and Michigan. Says what they still got Sharon Moore. He still ain't really there yet. So he's still out.
Hey,
But
does he got a contract?
huh?
Does he got a contract now?
I'm not sure. Hey, man. Hey, I love when black people can get paid, and I don't like when they be getting taken advantage of like this. So I hope he get. But man, you just know it never kind of shakes down to be good for us when it happens in that certain way. So, but outside of that, for them, the cheating scandal, the stuff, and fines that they're getting hit with as well ain't nothing great. But I'm looking forward to that game, like you said, SMU Baylor. Looking forward to that game, just from a matter. And that's the thing, bro. Like. We've been watching college football forever, and we've talked about this before. It used to be a time, we turn on the TVs for the next season, and we kind of knew what guys were there. We knew, okay, I like that player. He flashed a little bit last year, but he was third or fourth on the depth chart. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do now, being second or first string with more carries. And now those first couple weeks, like teams are looking real different. So you come into it and you got to look around and be like, hold on, let me see. Okay, cool. Baylor got their running back from over here, and then this quarterback went here. So if you're not up on your stuff in the offseason, which we'll see a thing or two, but we're not that attached to it.
Hard.
But so yeah, that first week for us coming in is really with us looking and being like, okay, well, we know this is Alabama, but what Alabama is this?
Yeah. Like I say, they're all Frankenstein teams now, bro. And this ain't like basketball where like you gotta have chemistry in football, but like all these people transferring here, transferring there. They may have got the spring session in together, maybe some summer workouts, but no real chemistry. So it's kind of like who could gel the best in the fastest time to be successful. College football has turned into college basketball right now. It's like a team could be a one and done year for them because you don't know who's going to come back next year and who they're bringing in. And I think that's hard, bro. I feel bad for them coaches. They got to earn every penny now with this recruiting and this transfer portal and all that stuff. So I don't know, man. By week 3, we'll kind of have an idea on who's shaping up to be what. Yeah. and seeing who's actually a real contender and who may be still on the fence and who's just like, nah, that ain't got it this year. So we'll see how it goes.
To keep it real, I don't feel bad for the coaches. Like they're getting paid all this money to do all this stuff. They're gonna be okay. They're gonna hire the resources. Like if you ask me, they're just now doing the stuff that comes with everything to do this job.
Yeah.
Getting paid, like you look at the top 10 highest coaches, they're all making pretty much over around 10 million. Like, yeah, y'all gotta show up and y'all gotta be with it. So what did you going into last week, man? Lots of good matchups last week. Ohio State and Texas, Bama, Florida State, Clemson, Clemson, LSU. What were your favorite games to watch last week to open up?
Honestly, if I'm gonna rank them, Florida State, Bama was the best game. Then Clemson and LSU, and Ohio State and Texas. And just starting off with Florida State and Bama, like everyone's saying, this ain't the Bama, this ain't the Nick Saban Bama, and it's like, Bama, you gotta find your new identity now. Who are you gonna be? Are you gonna be a powerhouse or not? And for Florida State, hey, we talked about it. Gus Malzahn, he got him a quarterback. He was digging in that 2010 playbook with Cam Newton. Hey, them plays look real familiar. It's like, okay, we got an athlete at quarterback. So I think that was a good spark for them. I want to see if they could be consistent all year, though. I think, of course, everyone's going to have like a sluggish game and all that, but like, are they going to be consistently that aggressive on defense, that aggressive on offense, making those plays, not shooting themselves in the foot? So that's what I'm looking forward to see them. Clemson LSU, that was just a good old fashioned football smash mouth game. Really enjoyed it. I think Clemson, they blew it themselves, but LSU receivers really showed out, man. Still learning their names, but when they got the ball in open space, they were making moves. It's one of those. And then lastly, Texas and Ohio State. Proud of the defense. The defense showed up. I don't care what nobody said. Texas corner Muhammad II, he did a good job linking up with Jeremiah Smith and going toe-to-toe with him most of the game. Both quarterbacks for both teams got to find themselves, and we're going to go with that. The hype for Arch Manning, I didn't believe in the hype from last year. I'm not saying he's not good. I want to see what he does, but it's hard when you got so much outside pressure and what they're going to spin on him, and we'll see how the media tries to paint his story with how he moves forward with this after week one.
Yeah, because you've been speaking about Arch Manning, right? Right now, they're only up, and we know it's a long game, only up 7-0 on San Jose State. And a lot of teams are kind of just starting, but he has a touchdown pass, 5 for 8, 98 yards passing. So I could see them trying to make this game a statement game. Not a statement game, but like you're supposed to beat, San Jose State by 40, 50 points. So I could see them, Sarkisian trying to get him comfortable, trying to get people to say, okay, well, Ohio State was a good year, was a good team last year and is a top team this year, so that they're not a slouch. So just looking at that whole makeup of it, he looked, and just talking and just getting into the Ohio State game, man, he looked a little bit rushed. He looked like he never really settled in the whole game. Granted, that's a defensive coordinator you're going against, and Matt Patricia, who I really don't believe in because, everybody from Belichick's tree or that was at the Patriots did good. And then it's time for them to go somewhere else and not so great. But yeah, but also you got the players are there. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you coming to coach a team that went 5. Like they had what? I forgot they said the draft picks that they had, and it was, 14 or 17. It might have been between Texas and them, or they had 14 or 17 draft picks. So like the talent is there. You know how Ohio State is. They go, they give money. And what do they say? They got a $20 million payroll for NIL with football or whatever it is.
$20 million roster. Get you a championship. 20 mil, get you a championship. We'll see what Texas Tech says with what they got, 50 mil, but we're going to see.
Yeah. So
go back to it though.
Yeah, so he just didn't look settled. And then Ohio State, they played defense. They did really well. They was able to get out of there with the win. Jeremiah Smith is a beast. But looking at that, so some of my favorite games, like I root for Dabo. And I root for Dabo because every year, that first and second game of the year, they're playing somebody that really, really matters. Mm-hmm. And then they always either lose that game or they look sloppy, and everybody talks about this is the end of Clemson. And then they turn around and they have 10 wins before the season wraps up, and they're close to the playoff, or they're playing in the ACC championship game. So, what he's doing is working. It's different. It's not as conventional as everybody else getting on this transfer and bringing everybody in, and they're still talking about they develop. So I appreciate that. But it's also funny his comments after the game where he's talking about, first of all, don't try to grade the other team, bro. Like, stick to your team. Talk about your team. Like, we
Yeah,
don't need all this other stuff. Like, y'all are grown men going back and forth now because you wanted to give somebody, you graded yourself on a curve and you graded somebody else hard. Like,
yeah,
chill out with that. But it's great to just see them, man. Like I said, I know you are like me where you appreciate people actually having a matchup or playing somebody that first game of the year because you're really vulnerable. Your players, you're going to be have mistakes, you're going to be penalties, you're going to be this level of conditioning that you only get from playing in a real football game is there. And so I would say probably for me those two games, and I'm glad we got to talk about Lee Corso too, but I'm glad that that they didn't hold, and I know they tried to move it back, but that it was Texas and Ohio State at 9 a.m. and not 12:30, 4 p.m., 7 p.m. like having to wait all day for that.
yeah, I feel that too. And kind of going back to what you're saying with Dabo and them all that, like you said, he don't hit the transfer portal. He wants to develop who he got, and I like how he's sticking to that moral. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is what we're gonna do here, and we're gonna make it work. He's gonna live and die on that sword, and I respect that. They said last year still got him to the playoffs, even though they were shaky for a little bit throughout the season. We still got him in. And also on top of that, but shout out to Brian Kelly taking LSU into Clemson. So I respect that because I do not like when it's a big matchup and it's at a neutral site. I do not like that. It's like, no, hey, I'll come to your house. You come to my house next year. Like, let's get it kind. Let's give the students what they want. Like that atmosphere when it's on the college campus stadium compared to a neutral site is different. Going to different games, going to a game at a neutral site is not the same as when you're actually at someone else's stadium. So I respect those teams who go on the road that week one. Like, hey, all right, let's quiet their house. Let's really bring it. So win or lose, you got my respect, and it's a long season. What do we always say? It's better to lose early than late.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still bounce back and get into that 12 spot within the 12 season. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Question. So we talked about the Ohio State Texas game. Leading into that was college game day for Lee Corso's last show. You and I don't know when you started watching, but the better part of 20 years watching college game day on a Saturday leading up into the game, especially as we got into our later teenage and early adult years and really started watching college football. What is your greatest memory of Lee Corso, of just any of his picks or just any of just watching for him over these past 20ish years?
I think Lee Corso, he was an animated character. He brought entertainment. To me, still the best no matter what. I believe it was 2011. They're down at Houston for college game day. Houston versus SMU. And when he dropped the F-bomb, because he got a little bit too hyped up, that still may be one of the greatest moments for Lee Corso. But also, he stays loyal, man. You knew he was going to pick the Ducks. You knew that. You knew he was going to pick Ohio State. Just that excitement. It brought more people involved. I feel like Lee Corso and college game day during that time got more people involved with college and learning more about the college culture with all the specials they did and little short stories they did. And then leading back to, let's get down to our picks. Lee Corso, who you got? Let's end college game day pregame show and kick off college football with a bang and some excitement. So Lee Corso will be missed. It was sad to kind of see him just get older throughout the years, seeing less camera time of him just because, his age and all that. But those are shoes you'll never be able to replace on college game day.
Yeah. My question is, how does that conversation go, or who has to start that conversation? Like you said, it's a blessing to be able to live life and to get old enough that your abilities can deteriorate, to know that you've been on this earth 70, 80, 90 years. And it's hard to keep all your mental faculties and, your mind might not be as sharp as it used to, but it's still pretty sharp. My thing is like, who has to come up and say, hey man, we're not, the product isn't as great as it was as we're, getting on stage now. Like, who has to really come and have that conversation with him? And I just wonder what that conversation was like, that it's like, was it somebody forcing him out a little bit, or was it somebody saying like, hey, this is your last year was supposed to be the last year, but we can give you this one more show and we want to do some stuff around you. But he's a staple for that show. And like you said, he brings energy. He's this old dude. His loyalty to the Ducks was awesome. I was telling my homeboy, I was like, he asked me for my favorite memory. And I said, I forgot. I thought it was an Oklahoma game. And when he said he cursed and everything like that. But I was just like, we used to watch him, when I was at Oregon, we would eat breakfast in the morning. It would be on the West Coast usually. So we watch College Game Day if we before going to our clap session before we left to the stadium, or like, just as we're winding down breakfast and we played later. And everybody will be in there eating breakfast. And when it was time for them to pick, we kind of be sitting there watching and making sure that they picked us or seeing what they said about our game. But when I played at Oregon, College Game Day came out there at least probably 7 or 8 times within my 4 years there. And
I was
so
there in Halloween when they were up there. That was 2000. Was that 2009 or 2010? And y'all
2000,
upset USC on Halloween night.
2009.
Okay, they were definitely there that day. It was a 5 a.m. morning that day.
Yeah, and so you talk about those, or just for me, my memory is, being a college player and being able to watch him, being able to watch them talk about the program, interview some of your teammates, your coaches, the fans. And then also it was just like, he picked us. I'm pretty sure he picked us every single time or the majority of the times. And seeing them celebrate with the duck, or, seeing Autzen fans go crazy. And they were always packed it out. Like you said, they're there early. They're there to show up, a sea of green and yellow. But for me, it's one of those things. I knew we were lucky because I'm like, dang, like, at one point in time, one year we were on College Game Day 3 or 4 times. Granted, that's what happens when you're winning, but that's the kind of lay of the land for it. So, but just to be able to do something that long and to bring something and to create it and make it even more iconic than it really was. I just have a lot of appreciation for him. He's always going to be synonymous with college football, and for the help that he gives out, talking to everybody and coaching and just not so fast, my friend isms. So, man, I appreciate the time we got with him. And I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, it's always tough when there's change or there's turnover. There's always that newness to it. And we don't, and to be truth be told, I don't know about you, but we ain't really been watching it like we used to ever since McAfee got on there anyway.
Nah, when McAfee got on there, and I don't know about for some people, but when they changed the intro song, it was like, it ain't the same no more. But yeah, I know McAfee, he does a lot of good work, right? Like, I remember last year, I heard Kurt Herbstreit do like an interview when they were talking about we're gonna have to let some people go from the production team because we don't have it in the budget. And Pat McAfee stepped up and said, well, I'll cover it then. If you don't have money from them, they're a part of our team. They help us do the show. I'll cover it. So it's like stuff like that, I give mad props to, mad respect to. But like you said, he's just a little bit too much for me sometimes. I know some people love it. Some people don't like it. Some people really don't care. He knows football, but I just need him to take it down like 1 or 2 notch. But, he's bringing in ratings now that they want, I guess. So we'll see.
I would say, and to that point, he's bringing in like that kind of frat boy culture type of thing, where it's like, but it's the thing, it's crazy because we don't get to do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, we don't get to, and he's since changed, but when he first popped up and he's still wearing his tank tops and doing stuff like that, and you're like, man, you represent $1 billion company, like, and they bought you, or they, you know what I mean? You guys can join on something, but just with this, I feel, and this is why I will give him props, just like you said. Like, I think Kirk Herbstreit said something like, man, he's having more fun than he's ever had. Like, this dude's bringing his dog. So, he's having fun. Like, he's doing things that he didn't really think he could do until somebody showed him, like, you're the talent. Like, you're the person that is the one that brings people to this. And so you can see there's a different level of comfort of play with everyone. Nick Saban still gets on there and he's super serious because that's how he is. But there's been this new level of play that he's brought. And like I said, I don't watch it as much as I used to, but it's, that's what you can do when you kind of make the rules, when somebody's paid you and now you can kind of do things your way on their network or just through their channels, but knowing that you have such a big following too, that you are not vulnerable to, them saying, hey, you got to cut this off. You can't do this. So that's one thing he bet on himself and he's definitely winning.
Nah, I'll give him that. Like you said, you can see that. Because remember, there was a couple of times that Des Howard got in a little bit in trouble, kind of get a little too free with his speak and all that stuff. And he had to come on and apologize and all that. But, Pat could get away with it. He can let them see, like, no, it is okay to do. We can have fun on here. We're changing it up, but we're still excited. Like you said, get the college students engaged. I just don't think that at the end of the day, it's not going to be the same without Lee Corso ending the show with the headgear pick. Do you think, I didn't watch this morning, I was getting my workout in, do you think at some point in time they try to let somebody else come in and do the headgear pick selection?
I mean, I will say, I'll say yes and no. I mean, I think they got to figure out what works for the next person. So now my question to you is funny. We're gonna my question to you is who's next up, or who's that person that takes that big seat?
I think he's not going to be the face of College Game Day, but he's going to be the energy, and that's going to be Pat McAfee. I thought a couple years ago when they brought him on, I said that a couple years ago, like this may be like a tryout audition to see if this could be Corso's replacement, because he is getting older, and we know his time is coming to an end. But he's going to do it his way. It's not going to be Lee Corso's way, and I want to expect whoever fills that spot to try to do it Lee Corso way. They got to make it their own, because it'll never be the same like the way Lee Corso did it, right? And so I don't know. I think they're game planning. I think they're gonna have to use this season to try to figure some stuff out, and trial and error with some things to see like what works for them. How can we really end the show with the bang with the game day selections? So I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see. We'll see what happens.
I guess you're right. That's all I was gonna say. I just don't. I think even if they bring it up, if they say, "Hey, we need to bring headgear picks back," I think a person like Kirk Herbstreit would be like, "Nah, I won't be the one to do it." Like I know he has too much respect for Lee Corso. I know he has too much love for him. Like that's that thing. But I don't think they can just go, "All right, everybody give your picks and then we're out of here." Like there has to be some final just big shebang type. Yeah, there has to be something like that. So I don't know, like you said, I didn't watch today either. I don't know how they're going to ride out the rest of this year, but I'm pretty sure that's a conversation that somebody's looking and they're like, yo, like that's a big part of the show. Now, what's going to be the big part of the show next?
Yeah, because that's kind of what separates them from Big Noon Kickoff, right? Because at that point, if we don't have that big exclamation mark to end College Game Day with the headgear selection, I might as well watch College Game or Big Noon Kickoff. See what they're talking about over there, So I don't know. I think it's something talent, guys brainstorm, see what's going to happen. For me, I think it's going to be something that deals with Pat McAfee, though. I'm going to go that route.
Okay. And then we forgot to talk about who did South Carolina play last week?
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech, y'all won?
You know we did. We got a little sloppy, mid-game, second, third quarter. The turning point was that punt return, though. That brought us back that energy. Like I said, being a big South Carolina fan, this is me just being realistic, bro. It's either going to be we're making it into the playoffs with like the 12th or 11th seed, or we're going to be on the outside looking in the 13th, 14th seed. And I hope it's the one where we sneak and we squeeze in there. But there's the games that we shouldn't lose. Last year, I would say out of the 3 games between Ole Miss, LSU, and Bama, the only game we really should have lost was Ole Miss. Against LSU, we had some late penalties at the end of the game with roughing the passer on that pick 6. That would have been, stick a fork in them. And then with Alabama, we had that late fumble between Sellers and RB on a halfback read, and that kind of just gave Bama that life too. So it's a year that South Carolina should get into the playoffs. If not, they're going to be outside looking in, and I don't know what Shane Beamer's going to do after that.
Bro, you've been saying they're supposed to be in the playoff for the last probably 6-8 years.
Relax, bro. I always been honest about my South Carolina picks, bro. Ever since Johnny Football came onto the scene and Rancy spurted up out of there, I knew it was going to be some rough times. But no, I do think we finally do got like a good squad going right now. Realistically, that D line is still on point. We're gonna see what Sellers does. We gotta look for that big next receiver right now. So we don't know who that is, because there's a lot of drops by South Carolina in that Virginia Tech game in the first half. So, and once again, that comes with settling in, getting the nerves out and all that stuff. But it's gonna be interesting to watch, So they got a big game September 19th, 20th weekend when they play Missouri in Missouri. So that's gonna be a fun one. I'll be in attendance at that game. So we're gonna see what happens then.
Would you give South Carolina 10 wins?
No. I'm gonna give them 9.
Gonna give them 9. Okay.
9.
Okay, but they can get there by the time the college football season is done.
Yep, they can definitely get there.
Okay.
Got to run the gauntlet still in the SEC still.
All right. And you spoke about it, so I'll be remiss not to talk about it. You love college football. You travel to 1 or 2 stadiums a year. Where are you going this year?
So right now, I'm not going to count it, but last week I was at the Boulder game for CU versus Georgia Tech. That was a good game.
That's buddy was about to beat you up at that game. That's
hey.
Oh, buddy, you're about to get into a scrap with the old man at the game, right?
Hey, man, this is a family-friendly show, so I'm going to use the language I use with this gentleman who does not know how to mind his business. Here's my thing, bro. I think we talk about it all the time, right? When we be out, I'm sitting there, I'm talking with my friends that I came with, not saying nothing bad or anything about CU. I just made the statement, CU does not have a run game, right? They haven't had a run game the last couple of years. The gentleman in front of me wants to turn around in an aggressive tone and go, you don't know what you're talking about. Buddy, listen here, pal. One, this ain't your conversation, so mind your business. Two, if you want to engage with me, and you see me, I'll talk to anybody, bro. If you would have had a better approach, like, I don't know, man, this year the run game supposed to be on point. We could have had a great conversation. But when you want to come with that type of attitude, I'm gonna give you the same attitude back. So that's why he got told, hey, and the polite way I can say it on the show, I think you need to turn around and mind your business and don't worry about what we're talking about over here. All right. I'm not trying to have no issues in here. I know you definitely don't want to have no issues when you can barely walk up the bleachers. So mind your business and enjoy the game. So that's how that goes, man. But yeah, so went to Boulder last week. Like I said, I have Missouri coming up with the Missouri-South Carolina game. It looks like I might have a work trip at the beginning of October out in Orlando. So if that goes through, I'm looking to stay for that Kansas versus Central Florida game. That's October 4th, I believe. And then I might wrap up the season with going out to Fort Worth for the Iowa State versus TCU game. And that's November 8th. So there we go.
5-6 games this year.
That's the plan right now. As long as things keep going well, I should be able to hit them right now. So already scalping out ticket prices and just flights and hotels and all that stuff, bro. You know how it goes, man. So we'll see what happens though.
I know the life of a bachelor, man. I'm there with you. I'm there with you spiritually. I'll catch you on the back end of that, and then.
Bro, you haven't came to a game with me since we was down in Austin pre-COVID, and that's when you didn't know how to act, bro.
I got some stuff I got to take care of real quick, man. I'll double back and let you know. I got some stuff I got to take care of though.
Bro, that's what 6 years now.
Hey, man.
You went down to Austin. You didn't know how to act in Austin. You out there taking jello shots, getting wild before the game starts. Like, yo, who is this, bro, man? Whose man's is this? Whose man's is this right here?
Hey, man, if you want me to come, go ahead and sponsor me, man. All expenses paid. I'll come.
My dog made us get out in the middle of the street with our Uber because he was not feeling well.
Hey, man. Sometimes, hey. Oh, I didn't even get to tell you this. I'll tell you this. Yeah, I can tell you this, and then we'll get up out of here. So I'm on the plane coming back from Dallas yesterday, Dallas to LAX.
All right.
Get on Southwest. I'm A boarding group. I got to my gate a little late, still boarded in A. Got my exit row. Got the seat with the exit row that doesn't have a seat in front of it, so you got a whole bunch more leg room.
Yeah.
Sat down there, had another homie that came and sat on the edge. We talked a little bit. I'm like, cool. They told us it's gonna be a good. They told us it's gonna be a capacity a totally sold out flight. So I'm like, all right, I'm prepping my mind for somebody to sit next to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, middle seat's open. Everybody gets on. Everybody's boarding. Everybody's passing up our seat. I'm like, all right, we might be straight. We might be able to get out of here with not having somebody sit here. Everybody got here. The last couple people board and get on. They walk past us. I'm like, all right, cool, we good. Just then I hear this woman say, hey, is that seat next to you open? And I'm like, yeah, it's good. So she sits down, chilling. Didn't really talk when she sat down, but I was like, all right, I offered her a piece of gum. She looked at it kind of like, nah. I'm like, all right. So we take off on the flight. We flying for 10 to 15 minutes. She's hella fidgety. She's leaning back, leaning forward, head in her lap, head on the tray, like just all of this, just restless. It's cool because I don't know, like it's a free country still. She's doing all this, 20 minutes into the flight. We get 30 minutes into the flight. All of a sudden, like I'm sitting there, I'm reading a book and I'm kind of listening to a podcast. All of a sudden, she kind of sits up and goes like, and so I'm like, what? She forget something at home or like left the baby on top of the car? Like, what's going on? Put her hand over her mouth like this. I'm kind of watching her like, yo, what's good? Like, you want to talk about it? Next thing I know, throw up starts oozing out of the hand, dripping down her wrist, onto her like dress, on her forearm, on her thigh. And the funny thing about this, hey bro, you know me. I'm over there. I want to help, but I'm kind of like, ew,
Yeah,
ew,
like oh, hey,
I'm like,
hey, hey,
ew.
you standing up in your seat.
I'm like, ew. But I'm also like, all right, she's in need and she's in help. But she just was like this in her hand. And so, bro, on every plane, they got barf bags right in front of you. So
Yeah,
I'm like, but at the same time, if you're faded, I understand. She was either hungover or she was like dealing with some nauseousness. So the guy next to her got the stewardess, got the trash bag, got another barf bag, got some wet wipes, got some wet wipes, got some more paper towels, and like through this, like it didn't stink, but I smelled it a little bit.
oh
And
yeah,
so as all this is going on, I get up, I exit out the front row, I go use the bathroom to kind of get away for a minute. I really had to use the bathroom though. Use the bathroom, and I was chilling at the back for a little bit, and then I came back to my seat. Sat down, was mostly cleaned up. She still had throw up on her shirt and everything, but she's cleaned up for the most part. Bro, why? And this happened 30 minutes into the flight. So we're coming from Dallas. So we still got like maybe 2 hours left, we'll say. Why for the whole rest of the flight, she never got up to wash her hands, to rinse out her mouth, to maybe get her backpack down and get a clean shirt and change clothes or something. She didn't do nothing. Granted, she might have been embarrassed, and that
yeah.
might have been what it was. She might have been embarrassed and like, I don't want to walk and have people looking at me with throw up on my shirt.
Walk of shame.
But at the same time, she sat in that seat in her throw uppy seat, and with dry throw up on her shirt. So the rest of the flight, bro, I'm on high alert. I'm like, but you know what the funny part is, and this is the kicker to the story, and this is the funny part. So I offered her a piece of gum at the beginning, and so in my mind, the a-hole in me, I
Yeah.
was like, I wish you had that piece of gum now. Hey, I'm not about to offer you no more because like I said, didn't wash your hands, so I'm not trying to have you come in contact with my pack of gum with all the little germs you just spread.
Hey, bro.
But yeah, bro, that was, and I'm over here, I'm like, bro, I'm watching her out of the corner of my eye just to make sure she throws up again, and she was still just going, going through the same stuff. But
Hey,
bro,
hey,
that's my
bro.
life, bro. The Black Larry David.
Hey, you can't even enjoy your flight after that, bro. You on high alert, like, yo, y'all sure y'all got in between the cracks of the seat? I don't want to get up and there's some throw up on my sweatpants.
Bro,
You have the issue right there.
I just felt dirty just the rest of the flight. I just felt on the edge. I was just like, ugh.
Hey, and the sad thing is somebody had to come sit in that seat right after she got off that bad boy too.
And has no idea. And
No,
has
hey,
no idea.
yo, I'm sure that throw up was still just lingering around and probably sitting there like, yo, what's that smell, bro? Like, hold on. Like, hey, is that me? The person checking, is that me? That can't be me. Like, yo, but I can only imagine. I have an idea what this individual may have some type of physical quality traits to them. I just have an idea what that person could have looked like. And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
It's not gonna be who you think, but we'll talk about it offline.
Oh, that's a curveball. I'm not expecting that thing.
Nice little slider, nice drop right off the table for you.
Oh, okay. I hope it ain't one of us. But
So after that, so that wraps it up for today. We're gonna try to stop in here for 30 minutes or an hour every week. Either we're gonna be wrapping up the week or talking about what's happening next week. Like we said, not much happening for this college football Saturday, but tune in. I'm Drew Davis. That's Chauncey Williams representing Montbello High School, Denver, Colorado. Everything you know. We all good. Prom King. He was Prom King over there. I wasn't there. He's Prom King.
It's one of those, bro.
But outside of that, we appreciate y'all rocking with us, and we're going to catch up with y'all soon.
It's been real.
Peace.